Teachers, and you're listening to Show X Live with Ken in a student accommodation all the way in Scotland, and Wayne in his white windowless van? Uh-oh, I better get out of here. Enjoy the show!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Show X on VTWProductions.com. You're listening live at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT on this Sunday, the 8th of October, 2017. We are joined once again by our good friend Ken, who has been off gallivanting around for some time. How are you doing today, sir?
Gallivanted. It's good to be back. I've missed in the show, guys. I really have. I truly, genuinely, really have missed doing this show. It's good to be back, and it's good to be back on the air. It's good to see all you guys. It's good to catch up with you again, Mr. Wayne. I've missed you. It's good to be here and actually have the ability to sit down in this. This is actually the first time I've been in this room in about a month. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
This is the first time I actually accessed this room in my house because I've not a need for it. This is the fun gaming room, and I haven't had the time or need to do so. So, this is weird actually. Now I think about it. But anyway, I'm good. Yes, how are you?
I'm doing mostly well. Things good, things bad, but always things. And so I am here and continuing on.
That's good. I'm just trying to get used to everything here. I need to open up that notes thing, right? That thing that we do where we're supposed to prepare notes. I think I need to go to that.
We try to on occasion. We see what we're going to talk about, make sure we capture that for everyone else.
Okay, I'm in. Right, so the first thing I wanted to go shout out to, I actually finally did it last week myself, is the art contest. I've actually taken part, and so as the first person to do so, everybody else should now can go ahead and do so as well. It's the 21st art contest we've ever run, which is quite a few. 21 we've now run. That's pretty good. The end date is November 26th, so you've got pretty much a month and a half to go, which is in fact a little bit more than that, and that's pretty good. You got a long time to go take part. You can submit a maximum of 5. Before it used to be 3. You can now put a maximum of 5 pieces in.
Oh.
Because I thought, why not? Right. So far I've put in 3, and I'm saving myself for the Halloween genre because I want to try and see what I can do on Halloween.
Yes.
Our themes include experimental, Halloween, first attempt, fireworks, algorithm, and the quote, "The whole is greater than the sum of its parts" by Aristotle. Now, I put in a few pieces from my journeys through Europe in the past couple weeks. So when I went to Geneva and France, and so I've got some photos I'm actually quite proud of in there. At the very least, go up, look and see those. That'd be cool. If you are interested and maybe inspired, feel free to also join in the fun and take part in the art contest. Got a long time to take part, and there's a whole bunch of accessible themes in there, right? Halloween, super accessible. Experimental means you can try out something. First attempt means you can try it for the first time ever, right? So if you've never even tried drawing before, give it a bash. Try doing painting. Try doing some watercolors. Try something out. Take a photo and put it up. You have the opportunity now. So that's the whole point and all that stuff. Other than that, I think that's the only thing I need to do a shout out for, other than thank you all for having me back, and thank you guys for still downloading the show. I see that we're still having good download numbers, and that is much appreciated. Kuro in the IRC says that he has some picks for the contest this time. Much appreciated.
Yay!
Also, while Kuro's there, I've been meaning to ask you, Kuro, on your personal Facebook, I've noticed that you keep getting tagged in multiple photos as Gandalf.
Did you look close at those photos? Because it looks like...
I see it's been photoshopped to be his face. Yes.
Okay, making sure.
But I just don't understand what's going on. It's a bit confusing. Please do tell, sir.
Yes,
anyway,
I'd be curious to know that as well. Oh no, I was just gonna say, as for me, I also am looking forward to getting into the art contest. I've been looking at the subject today as I've been going back through and editing a lot of photos recently, and so I'm trying to find ones that I think will fit it throughout it all. So we'll see. I have some thoughts as I come up to things I'll be doing this next week. So definitely going to jump into the contest this month, and I'm looking forward to that.
That's good. Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I've been doing a lot of photography society stuff recently. So I said during the summer I was planning on joining the photography society at my university. And the semester finally started, and we've started teaching and stuff. And yeah, that means that the students are here, which means that the photography society has begun. And we had our first meeting on Thursday. We had a Give It a Go event a couple weeks ago, but we had our first actual meeting on Thursday.
Okay.
Already, the entire leadership team has changed over because of I'm not entirely sure, strange drama, I think. But when I was in the meeting, everybody there is sort of like a quiet undergrad type people, where they're all just like, "Oh, we're so nervous and unsure what to do in groups." And me being there, I was sort of just like, I don't want to be leader, but we really need to do something here, guys. We need to have some kind of leadership. So I sort of like coerced other people into roles that they should do. And then I was like, I ain't doing any more. That's as far as I'm going, because I don't want to. I've got enough on my plate, man. I've got enough on my plate. It's too easy to fall into leadership in these kind of things when nobody's willing to take the lead, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's bad. You can tell you have some kind of leadership qualities when you have to actually actively avoid being a leader, right? I think I have some part of me that either enjoys it or just has a knack for it, or maybe both. But that's been going well because sorry, I just realized I sort of started into my own little section here. I'm sorry to do that without.
Oh no, I can go ahead and say
Functional deviations.
There we go. There we go. Now it feels more official.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's been going well. The Photography Society has kicked off, and it's been encouraging me not just to do stuff with the Photography Society. In fact, I put together a document for them, kind of, because again, organization skills. In fact, let me load it up here quickly so I can talk about the things that we have planned, because it's quite fun, actually. So our first thing was macro photography, which we had on Thursday. So people came in with their macro lenses, and people brought in some little items that they could play with that we could take photos of. So we did that. Next week we have our first social, so we're going out drinking, and that's going to be on the 12th of October, which is my birthday. And I helped organize that intentionally because I was like, hey, I've got nothing else planned. I think it'll be good fun to meet all these people in the club and get them out and make them actually talk to each other. Hopefully after a couple drinks they can become friends. It's not just a group of strangers who do something together, right?
Yes.
So that's the plan.
Nice.
We're also doing a portrait photography night that same night, which is partly intentional so people can bring their cameras along to the night, right? So we have lots of evidence of our misdeeds in town. It'll be fun. Although really, like, some of them are actually my ex-students or current students as well, because that's bound to happen. So I'm going to have to be kind of like boring, but you know, it'll still be fun. The week after that, we've got a weekend trip, which we've had about 8 different ideas for. But my favorite one that I came up with was, we want to do street photography sometime, and that's kind of a tough thing to do. Street photography in general is kind of tough to do. But I was thinking maybe we could like do something that's really charitable as well. And I came up with the idea that we could go out and try and take photos of homeless people. And then I thought, like, that's kind of hard to do because it's you know, taking a photo of somebody who's disadvantaged. You feel you're taking advantage of them, etc. So I was like, that's not going to work. But how about we go out with a bunch of food and like clothing and stuff, maybe through donations, and we say we go out to these guys, they're homeless guys. Like, I think I say guys because it's like 89% male in the homelessness in the UK, I think. But to these people, right? We give them some stuff, regardless. Be like, take some stuff, take some. Here you go. Then ask them, can we take some photos?
Yeah.
They can say no, though, right? If they say no, we'll be like, fine, keep your stuff. That's cool. Have a nice life. Good luck to everything, and I hope you get off the street soon, right? But if they let us take photos, then great. We can all go down the street and like take some photos of the certain area. And plus, the photos can be used to raise awareness, right? I mean, like as it filters through social media, we can save the cool deeds we did, and it's good for us it's good for our society for one. It's good for the homeless people for two, and it's good for homeless people in the world in general because maybe more people will go donate or whatever, right? And hopefully we can reflect some kind of human element onto it and be like, hey, look, these are real people. What I'd love to do is get like testimonials, like get a photo of like portraiture type street photography photos of these different people, maybe get like 5 or 6 of them, and have a little blurb next to it explaining some of their story. I'd really like that. That would give it some sort of human depth, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It'd be fun, nice, charitable and enjoyable thing to do. We also consider going to some of the, you know, Scotland tourist type stuff and around the place, and that's gonna be fun. We've got a Halloween-based social, so we're going to do more portraiture photography with dress-up stuff there, which will be fun. We've got Bokeh, I've been told is how it's pronounced, Bokeh.
Okay.
Bokeh, Bokeh, which is in the IRC. I'll put it now, if it lets me. There we go. That's Bokeh photography. It's when you have like basically there's a bunch of stuff really out of focus, but one thing in focus sometimes. Usually used with lights.
Yes.
It's a really nice type of photography, and what you can actually cheat it. You don't need to buy anything fancy. If you just get some like some cling film, like some thin plastic film, put it over your camera lens, put a little hole in the middle, just place the hole where you actually want to, point the hole towards where you want to actually focus on properly. Then everything else has this lovely blur to it, and it's a nice technique to use, and it's a cheap one too. So we're going to play with that a little bit. We've got another night for street photography. We've got a light graffiti night as well, so that'll be fun. We've got a dark room, so we're going to go in there, bring some special torches and stuff, and maybe try to draw something badly, right? And that's going to be disastrous. But it's for learning, right? We're not supposed to actually get anything necessarily good out of it. And then the last thing we have planned is going to the Christmas market in Edinburgh in December. Because there's lots of cool stuff on then. So we can get some photos of like the Ferris wheel going around fast, maybe get a long exposure of that. And all the Christmas lights. We can maybe mix some of the techniques that we've had together, maybe some street photography, maybe some bokeh, etc. all together. That'll be good fun. That's been the Photography Society, and what's been really good about it is it's been inspiring me to go out and do other photography as well, outside of the actual nights, just because I've been in the mood for it now, because I'm thinking about it a lot. I'm helping organize, and I'm like, oh, this is exciting, I'm actually excited about photography again.
This is good to hear, yes.
Yeah, it's a great thing. It's really nice to be inspired again. And I've taken quite a lot of photos around the place. You can see them on my DeviantArt, my Facebook page, or my Flickr if you're particularly interested. Link is in the IRC to my DeviantArt because those are the particularly artsy ones. In particular, I'm really proud of, let's just say these two mainly. One is that one there, where it's a photo of my father-in-law playing chess with myself and my wife in Geneva, a giant chess that's just in the middle of the very center of Geneva, next to the university. And it was a very close game, but me and Kitten Features did eventually win in the last like 3 moves. It was a really close game, really close. And to be fair, it was 2v1, so we should have won. The fact it was so close is a little embarrassing to us actually, because he should not have been able to win, but it was just really close. Then that last one there is a photo of Kitten Features and a puppy, and it's very cute. And I'm very proud of it.
Nice.
That's all the photography stuff that's been going on. In terms of work, I have a huge amount of stuff on the next few weeks. Originally, when I talked about my stuff on the show, it was all about the current project I was working on, how the current project was very overwhelming.
Yes.
Well, that current project has turned into 3 separate projects now, which are not smaller in size, but more that it grew arms and legs and then became its own project. Like symbiosis. That's kind of what's happened here.
Okay.
Including, I've got 2 final year students I'm not supervising, I'm semi-supervising their projects, but it means I need to go to every meeting and prepare a lot of work for them and stuff, and it's been taking a lot of my time.
That's a lot of work, yes.
But it is because they are doing this full time, then they need a lot of help with that, and it takes a lot more time than I expected it to. And the company that's sponsoring my PhD has been asking for quite a lot of help with 2 different projects as well, so it's really 4 projects in total, but I sort of combined the 2 company ones together. But anyway, I've got a lot on. It got to the point where I had to finally actually write out a to-do list, which is normally I never do because I can just sort of like handle the couple of things I've got on at once. But I've had to write it out because I'm forgetting deadlines now. It's just too many things to remember. So the work's been very, very stressful recently, more so than usual.
That's unfortunate to hear.
Thank you. But it is still very much rewarding, and that's not changed at all. I'm still thoroughly enjoying it. Okay, so away from that side of stuff, in terms of the chronological time, it was 2 weeks ago. I was in. Was that 2 weeks? No, sorry, the start of last week. So 2 weeks ago today, yes. 2 weeks ago today, I left to go down to Ipswich, and I drove down in my new car.
Oh, yes.
Why do you have a new car, you say, Ken? Well, I can tell you why. It's because my other one fell over. Not literally, thankfully, but the engine did. It is non-functioning. In fact, now it is approximately 1 meter cubed in size. it has been crunched down
Oh, geez,
into
okay.
scrappy size because it is dead. It is completely dead. So I broke down outside the university. Thankfully, it was far enough away from my home that my car breakdown insurance was outside the range of my radius of my home. So it needs to be like two miles away from my home to get any help come get me.
Oh, wow,
Otherwise,
okay.
my insurance doesn't cover it, just because I got the cheaper version of the insurance. So thankfully, I was just outside that range. So the guy came out, he looked at it, and he was like, "Oh, your battery's dead." He started my battery, and then it was like, "Yep, that's not the problem. Your brakes are also dead. That's weird." And then he tried to start up, and he was like, "Huh, the engine's going fine, and the brakes are fine. Why is the car not moving?" Turns out that the gearbox was just like not connected to anything. It's somehow disconnected. And he said that whole system being screwed will have to get entirely replaced, and that'll be approximately £500, so about $800 or whatever. And the car cost me £450, so it was $700. So you think to yourself, the whole car is worth less than this single
Yes.
component to replace it, and that doesn't guarantee it'll work, but it's the likely thing. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's time to say goodbye to my first car. So it got taken away, and I got £100 for scrapping it, because it was at that stage where, I was kind of hoping I could fix it, then sell it, to somebody else,
Yeah.
to some other poor bugger for their first car, maybe get a little bit more, but no, it was not doable. So it's gone to the great scrap heap in the sky. And I've replaced it with, for any car fanatics out there, I've now got a 2012, which is a very modern car compared to what I had. I had a late 90s Vauxhall Corsa 1 liter, so it had 15 previous owners.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was an old car, right? It did well. It did really well. It had like 80,000 miles. It did really well. But this new one has 50,000 miles, had one previous owner, and it's a 2012 Ford Fiesta Z-Tech 1.25 liter.
Very
and
nice.
it's got, thank you, it's got crazy features like the heating works, and it has a radio that functions. Like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah, I know these discussions. It feels very familiar to me, like when I went from my 93 Ranger to a 2013 Ford Escape. And how it's like, wait, look, I can push this button and the windows open and close. It's amazing.
It's crazy. It's like magic. Yeah, I can change the mirrors now, like electronically. I don't have to just go out the car and move them.
Yeah, Ranger was the same way. Yeah, it's kind of sad at the same time. Awfully funny how, what do you want to, the things you take for granted, or other side of it is what you really appreciate when you have the opportunity to upgrade, and so significantly.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I now have a heated front and back windscreen, whereas in the other
Nice.
car, I had a heated back windscreen that didn't work either. So, if it was foggy, I had to climb in the back over it was a 3-door car, so I had to climb over the chairs
gosh.
with a bit of cloth, like wipe it all down, whereas now I just get in, comfortably press a button and sit there for 10 seconds, and then it just does it itself. It's just, it's crazy.
That's nice.
However, it was a little bit more expensive than £450. I was
Fair.
paying that off for the next 2 to 3 years. But it's worth it, because now we've got the security and comfort of the new car, and that's nice.
Yeah, no, that is always a wonderful feeling and that was one of the things I also noted when I got mine, was just a feeling that I could just drive it places and not really worry about whether it's
You don't have
going
to think, will it make it now? Like, do I still have cover? Is it still existing? Is it the right time of the week to travel and get breakdown cover?
Exactly.
Yeah.
As silly as that may sound to people, if you've been sporting, classic vehicles for any length of time, those are the kind of little considerations you have to make, or things you think about, like, even when I did break my truck, is because I was driving to the mountains for a friend's wedding. I was like, it's been good to me. Surely I'll make this. Nope.
Yeah. But that was a similar thing. I was going up a hill, right? And it was just like, no, man, this is it. I'm dead. This is the end of the line. I can't do this hill. I often feel like that when I go jogging, I'm running up a hill. I just want to keel over and never get up again, except that my car actually did just that. So in the new car, I drove down to Ipswich, which I did in the previous car as well, and I did manage it a year ago. Well, it did break down on the way back once. this one, this one thankfully did not break down, and in fact, it was a very comfortable journey. I only just got the car 2 days before, so it was very much a new car to me, and now I'm very much used to it. I've driven 2,000 miles in 2 weeks, so I'm used to the car now. It is now an extension of my body, you know. And it was absolutely lovely. It was really nice to drive down. Occasionally got too warm, occasionally got too cold, but I had systems to prepare me for that, and that was fine.
Nice.
It was really nice, really nice. So that was good. I went to work down there. I managed to go to 2 days of the conference, but on the final day, I got really badly sick with a cold, which has been going around the whole UK, and I'm not even kidding. Like, all of Ipswich were ill. Like, everybody I saw in the street were all blowing their nose. All of the workplace were doing it as well. So was everybody in Stirling, my hometown where I am now. Wow. And I've seen on TV, like, the Prime Minister is famous. Like, it's been a big thing in the news in the UK for the past week. She was continually coughing and spluttering during a speech earlier on this week. I'm pretty sure that literally the entire UK has been infected with something. Some kind of virus has gone through us all.
Yikes.
And if the leader of your country gets it and everybody else also has it in multiple towns, it does seem that way in a way. At least it looks that way, right?
Yeah.
So I was a little bit ill there, and it was a bit sucky driving back up because I was blowing my nose approximately once every minute. So my poor little car was like full of toilet tissue paper, just like I had to blow my nose all the way up, you know. But it wasn't so bad. But then as I arrived back on the Thursday, on Friday we flew out to Geneva. So we went to go visit my my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, two of my sister-in-laws, and it was lovely. We had a really nice time.
Very nice.
We tasted fondue. We went to a local Coming of the Cows festival, which is a time of the year when the cows come down from the mountains. And traditionally they have bouquets of flowers on their heads and large tolling bells around their necks. And it's a big thing, and they make fondue and they drink wine, and we did all the above, and it was lovely. Also, French fondue, oh man, it is fantastic.
Oh,
it's worth going to France for. Not even kidding.
Interesting.
So good. From the French countryside specifically, right? So good. It was like 22 euros or something for a big pot of fondue for 3 people, and oh man. Like, I ate till I was bursting, and then I kept going because it was tasted so good. Like, I haven't been that gluttonous in a long time. Yeah, it was so good. I didn't know it was possible to eat that much cheese and still want more. So Geneva was great. We had lots of fun, and then we came back. While we were away, we had a friend look after our puppies, Brutus and Tank, and everything was fine. We didn't notice any problems.
Oh, that's always
until
good. Until
that evening. When we arrived back on the Monday, so the Monday 6 days ago, and I took the pups out for a walk, and I brought them back in, and Kitten was cleaning the house, just like washing it down the floors and stuff, and the pups ran up the stairs, and I was like, oh crap, there's mud on the stairs, I'll clean that up now, because I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to piss off Kitten features, you know.
Yes, yeah.
So I understand, but you just clean the floors and there's mud on them. I would be the one at fault, right? So I start cleaning up, and I'm like, oh, that's strange. There's a bit of blood here, and there, and there, and all the way up the stairs. So I realized one of the dogs was bleeding.
Oh no!
I thought, that's strange. So I called them down. I knew it was going to be Brutus because he's the one who had the claw problem. So I assumed his claw had like reopened his wound or something.
Okay.
I made him lie down, made him roll over on his back, and I looked at his first paw, where he had the bad claw before, and I noticed, oh geez, he's bleeding there, and there, and there, and there, and he was bleeding on all of his claws, all 4 of his front claws. His dew claw, which is the one I was worried about, was actually completely fine. Okay. Then I checked his other paw. I just gave curiosity. I thought it was a bit weird, so I checked the other one. Also, all 4 were bleeding, and I checked his back ones. All of his claws, apart from his dew claws, were all bleeding.
Oh, jeez.
So, and when I looked at the wounds, having had dogs for a long time and knowing what it looks like when this happens, I realized quickly that a human has cut his claws. Badly. So the thing with, unlike think of human nails, right?
Yeah.
Human nails.
No, you can go too far into the quick.
You can go in too far in the cuticle, right? Like you feel it and it's painful. Now, dogs is like that, but more so, because unlike humans where there's the nail bed that's attached, their nail actually has blood flowing through it.
Yes.
is called the quick, right? They have
Yeah.
nerves and blood inside their claw, and so when you trim their claws, you need to kind of be an expert and know where the quick ends. You can't see it; you just need to know by
Yeah,
instinct where it
it's
approximately
it's
is.
experience, yeah.
Absolutely. And whoever did this did it very poorly because all of the claws were all bleeding. And so both me and Ken were pretty mad, right? We thought, like, what the hell? I mean, who the hell thought it was in the right mind to, one, do this without asking us, and two, do it so poorly? I mean, we actually go to the vets to get it done because we're
Yeah,
not good at it.
no,
We don't want to
professionals, yeah.
damage our dog. So we messaged the person who was in charge of looking after our pets, and I sent a slightly angry message, and I feel bad about it now because this person is a very honest and not only that, a very bad liar. Right? Like if this person lied, we would know instantly. Like I'm not even
Okay.
kidding. You could read it off their face, right? It's that kind of person. Like I couldn't be more sure if I would know. And this person said, I didn't even know the claws needed cut. I thought they just fell off or something. I never even considered it. I promise it wasn't me. And I thought
Okay.
we thought to ourselves, okay, we had another friend drop by to walk them. Maybe it was that person. So we got in touch with those people who walked the dog, and they said, nope, promise we wouldn't do that. That's weird. We would not randomly cut their claws. We don't know how to do it either. We would never do that. I was like, okay. The last person that we have is one of our neighbors. I'm going to be quiet here. One of our neighbors has access to our house, and she has in the past been very kindly let our dogs out when we're at work all day, and she lets them out to go pee at lunchtime, and that's very kind. And we thought to ourselves, so if she's the last person with access, so Kitten confronted her and said, hey, did you cut our dog's nails? And she also said vehemently, no, I did not. I would not do that. I know that she has a dog herself, and she knows it's difficult to do, and would never do it to somebody else's dog without permission.
Okay.
So we have come to the conclusion. Well, in fact, that's kind of the point. We have no conclusion. That's the end of the story. We have no idea who broke into our house at some point while we were away and cut our dog's nails. Now, the other solution, of course, is possibly that he did it himself. He just chewed them off.
Okay.
They're clean cut, like absolutely clean cut, absolutely definitely were trimmed, right? Like I have no doubt. The other possibility is that he jumped from a fairly high height, landed,
Equally
right?
to break them all.
And maybe, yeah, that's the only way it would work, right? And maybe if it was high enough height, they all snapped at the same time, all 16 of them, right? Maybe. That's a possibility. Because the thing is, his dew claws weren't. So if it's just the ones that would land, that would kind of make sense. But that's where the well runs dry. We have no idea. So we've upped security in our house. We've started properly locking all the windows, all the doors, because we've gone to the point where somebody's lying to us, which is I'm guessing the likely one. Somebody's lying to us, which I hate saying because I don't feel right
accuse a friend
calling
or
a bunch
someone
of people.
that,
Yeah, friends and relatives and neighbors of being liars, but somebody has lied because it's either that or our dog learned how to use his thumbs, right? Like it doesn't make sense. It's impossible. So we've had a mystery in this past week, and so yeah, we've upped security in the house, and we've cut off access to the like nobody's seeing our dogs during the day, and it's been a pain in the ass actually because now I have to come home every day at lunchtime and I have to let the dogs out every single day, instead of having friends and neighbors do it.
Yep.
So I can't trust anybody anymore. So it's sad.
Oh, that is
Crazy,
unfortunate. That
right?
is so weird.
Very strange. So that was going on. That was interesting. After that, on Wednesday, well, actually, I should go back to back 6 months or so. Back in May, so however many months ago that was, Kitten and I decided to purchase Andy McKee tickets for my
nice.
birthday, which is this month. And that was on Wednesday, the actual show was. Now, I put up on Twitter and on Facebook because it really was a very meaningful night for me.
Okay.
Now, to put this in context, the number of times I have cried in my life, in my adult life, is now 2.
Okay.
Once when I got married, and I have no shame there. I was very proud to be there, and the fact that I cried just showed that I actually cared, in my opinion. And the second time was at this concert. I wept openly. So Andy McKee is a amazing fingerstyle guitarist, acoustic guitarist. Like he has been famously known for winning multiple competitions and being one of the best in the world for fingerstyle guitar.
Okay.
He is a true master, right? He is a grandmaster. He's the kind that the masters look up and say, "I wish I could be like him." Right? He is the granddaddy of fingerstyle guitar. He himself has idols, but most of them are from like the 80s or 90s and have either passed away or. But in the modern day, he is the grandpapa.
Okay.
So he came to Glasgow and did this show, and it was particularly meaningful to me because over the years, since I was about 13 or so, maybe, I've always listened to his music on YouTube and watched his stuff. And when I first started watching him, there was not a chance in hell I could play any of his music, because it was like above expert level, right? Like it is master level. Like his music is. It's like when a violinist looks at Flight of the Bumblebee, right?
Yeah.
Like, they sort of think, okay, one day I'll play that in 40 years if I practice it every day for 40 years, right? That's what it's like. When I looked at Andy McKee's music, it was like, wow, I hope I could one day maybe play half of one of his songs, maybe. That would be great. Like, that would be I'd be really happy. I'm now happy to say I can play 3 of his songs. But it's not due to the fact that I've just generally improved my guitar skills over the years and slowly came back to it, and it turns out I could play it now. It's because of those, especially, is one that's the particularly difficult one is Rylan. That one song, I must have played thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of times, or tried to, I should say, play tens of thousands of times. I can now play, I'd probably say, to 85 to 90% proficiency. I've still got the final finishing touches to go, but I can play almost the whole thing. And I think it's one of the most beautiful, touching tracks. It is so well written, and I believe the story behind it, I may be slightly wrong here, but I believe the story behind it is Andy McKee's best friend's daughter died suddenly of an incurable disease, and her name was Rylan, and he wrote the song to console the family and to remember this girl. And you can feel the emotion in it. Like, he clearly didn't write this to make money because he's not exactly loaded. He's just a guitarist. The had an audience of 200 when he came to Glasgow. He's not Rihanna, right?
Yeah.
He wrote this because it meant something to him, and you can feel that in the music. You can see it in the music is a work of art. His technical prowess is astounding as well. And over the years, after these thousands of hours of practicing, I've learned most of it. And I've always thought to myself, even when I hear him play it, I think on the recorded version of him playing, I always thought, he must have tried like 20, 30, 40 times to get that recording perfect. Even at the level he's at, that's a really tough song to play. Like, he must really have to try repeatedly to make it sound, because he must miss quite a few notes, have bad tuning, guitar strings break, whatever, right? It'll happen, especially with such a tough song. And he got up there and he played a 2.5-hour set of all of his most popular, famous, and difficult songs, including everything from the Art of Motion album, Drifting, his most famous song, which is a really difficult song. I highly recommend watching 2 minutes of that on YouTube. Like, don't watch the whole thing, just Drifting, Andy McKee. Watch that for the first 30 seconds and you'll be like, okay, wow, that guy plays drums and guitar and bass all at once on a guitar. It's insane. He played that and all these other songs continuously without a break. He did not stop for 2.5 hours. And I promise, as somebody who has studied his stuff inside out for a decade, he did not miss a single note. He did not muffle it. He did not get the wrong tonality. He did not get the wrong volume. He did not screw up once. I was astounded. I could not be more just shocked by the fact that a human can actually have such perfection. I still can't believe it. It was like seeing a miracle. It was genuinely just awe-inspiring. And then his final song was Rylan, which I loved. The fact he had saved it to the very end. I'm so glad he played it. And he played it not only perfectly, but he played his heart into it, It was,
like
just
you said, feel the
beautiful.
emotion. Yeah.
I could really feel it. And it was just absolutely beautiful. It was like watching 1,000 lovey-dovey movies where at the end the couple gets together times a million, right? Like that's what it was like all at once, and tears just flooded down my face. It was just beautiful.
Aww.
And once it all finished, it was a great concert. Hey, he got standing ovation. He got several standing ovations actually because the audience loved him. People just love him. And he's such a nice guy as well. He's funny too. He's making jokes for the whole thing. By the very end, he says thank you, and he says, "Hey, I'll be by the door. Come by and say hi when you leave." I was like, "You're kidding me." Andy McKee, I'm gonna get to say hi to Andy McKee. I'm gonna get to shake that man. I'm gonna get to touch the hands that wrote that song. I couldn't even believe it. It's like talking to Socrates as a mathematician. You know, it's like talking to I don't know, Plato as a philosopher. It's just mind blowing. And so I get to the door and I shake his hand. And I say to him, I say, Andy, you are nothing short of an absolute inspiration to me. Thank you so much for everything you've done with your music. I will be mentioning you in my PhD thesis because your music's gotten me through it, honestly. Like, through the hard times, it drowns out the music, everything else, and it's inspired me and kept me going. It's kept me sane, and I really appreciate it. And he says, and he looks a little bit shocked, and he says, "Oh, thank you very much," and that was nice. And I thought that was it. And then Kitten says to me, "Well, why don't we get a photo? Can we take a photo?" And Andy's like, "Yeah, sure, of course." And so I have a photo of myself and Andy McKee. It's, I don't know if you can see the emotion on my face, but I'm trying my hardest not to like curl squeak at that because it was just absolutely amazing. I just still can't believe it. I'm getting a little emotional thinking about it. But it was a beautiful night. I absolutely adore my wife for doing that photo for us and coming up with the idea, because I didn't even think of it. I didn't think it was a possibility. It was just too good to think of. It was just a beautiful night. Really, really fantastic. And I think that covers everything that I've been up to in the past little while.
Well, that is a really good story. No, I appreciate that. That's great to hear. That sounds like just an amazing time, because I saw your picture from it but didn't really know who he was at the time, and so now falling in with all that, it's like wow, that's impressive. So
well, if you ever get the chance, the tickets were only about £30, so like I don't know, like $40 for $50, and it's a show well worth seeing. Even if you don't play guitar, like you'll be blown away by his technical prowess and the everything. It's just so good. Kitten enjoyed it, but she was very tired after a long day at work anyway. And she always, whenever I play her Andy McKee stuff on guitar, she falls asleep to it because a lot of it's very, very, very lullaby-esque. It's beautiful stuff. It really can genuinely send you to sleep in a nice way, right? So she was sort of like cuddled into my shoulder, and she was drifting just like the song away on my shoulder like through half the thing. So I don't think she heard the whole thing anyway, but she enjoyed it. I think everybody can enjoy that. I would definitely recommend it if he's ever going to be in your neck of the woods.
Nice. We'll have to keep an eye out. Oh, that sounds like a phenomenal experience and just something to see, especially with someone that you followed and such like that. Just to be able to finally get to meet and be able to listen to directly. That's a great time.
It's the first concert I've been to that isn't like a band, you know. Like most concerts I've been to, I've seen Smashing Pumpkins, I've seen Rammstein, which is Slipknot, different spectrum entirely. I've seen Card, I've seen Limp Bizkit, White Stripes as well, and I enjoyed most of them. Like some of them more than others. But I've never had an emotional experience. It's really just been like, oh, that was cool. You know, that's pretty much it. Like, oh yeah, I had a good time. It's like seeing a 7 out of 10 film, but that was like an 11 out of 10. 12, 40 out of 10, right? It was just... Anyway, that's enough. How have you been lately, sir? I'll stop gushing.
No, that is wonderful to hear, especially having you back and be able to kind of catch up with what you've been doing. So don't feel bad about that at all.
Well, thank you for the time.
Oh, let's see. So what have I been doing? Well, in completely like opposite levels of what you've been talking about, I've been running around being a bit silly here and there. For my non-geek this week, my primary thing I did is I went and caught a premiere of a new movie that was coming out. That just this Thursday evening I went and saw, and planned it out and was able to go with a friend of mine to go see the new My Little Pony movie that just came out.
Jesus.
And the beautiful thing about this was that I got to go with a friend who truly appreciated My Little Pony, and we went to a theater up our place, and I think there were, 6 or 7 people in the theater total for this premiere in this tiny town. It actually worked out beautifully for us. But it was a great movie for anyone who is a fan of My Little Pony. Just throwing it out that we both had a great time. We really enjoyed it. and it was a continuation of all things that are pony-like. It was a fun, happy movie, and we were smiles throughout. The things that we enjoyed about all the ponies were absolutely in there for all of them. Even the things that I dislike about some of the ponies, namely Twilight Sparkle. Why are you so terrible? But at the same time, it had a good, solid story to it, and introduced new characters and such that were fun. But I just was very entertained, very much enjoyed. So if you are a fan of My Little Pony, I highly recommend checking it out. Also from it, I will tell you that I was inspired to pick a new cosplay that I plan on doing that is from the movie. And so there was a character in the movie that I thought was pretty slick that I am now going to try to make a costume of. But I will tell you, it is not a pony. And so the character that I am going to look at, though, its name is Capper, and was voiced by Ty Diggs, actor that's out there, a famous actor, black actor. And he just had so much sass and coolness to that character, as well as he may or may not, if you look up screenshots of him, look very similar to, or wears a coat that is very similar to one that I just recently finished and made for my Thomas Jefferson. And so, not that I'm not going to use my Thomas Jefferson coat, but I will try to use the pattern that I already have to essentially make another one with different fabric that'll be a little more worn because he's not quite as fancy, to try to make this costume. And so I'm going to be excited for it. I have no idea when I'll get it done. I'm hoping to do that. My friend who went as well said that she wants to make the main antagonist in it and try to build, is a pony, but build armor to match and such that we're excited to see happen. So looking forward to that. I will just say I had a wonderful time with it and will likely end up owning that movie because it is just so pure and true to what My Little Pony is. All right, beyond that, so that was Thursday night. Friday, what did I run around doing? I was kind of all over the place, back and forth, depending on what I was doing at different times. But I was really, the thing I was getting into is that on Saturday I had to prep because went and out to the annual Denver Zombie Crawl.
Very nice. I saw the photos actually. Yeah.
Yes, and hopefully, and I have more that I've just offloaded from my camera. So as I was talking about, I need to do more photography things. That leads into. Now I will say this year was a lesser zombie crawl than we've had in previous. It was, and we don't know why for sure. The weather was actually lovely. It was like 70 degrees out, so it was warm, sunny. Where tomorrow it's supposed to snow, and it was bright and nice out the whole time. So it was kind of odd that it was so small. I mean, there were some competing events. Denver was having its Great American Beer Festival at the same time, so a lot of people down there trying out different beers and such. But we still didn't feel like that would have taken away from the zombie crawl. Our only other thoughts on it is that this one happened a bit earlier than we normally would see, so probably a good weekend or two earlier in October than normally we have the zombie crawl. And so I was a little bit like, well, shoot, okay. But we walked around. It got a little better the later it got. I went with one of my friends, Hannah, that's part of the cosplay friends, as well as my friends Jamie and Patrick, who we've made it a annual gathering for us to go, where I think we were at Jamie's house probably 5-ish hours before we left, that we were there getting makeup done to try to get all dead and ugly and things like that. Jamie's been doing a lot of work where she's been trying to learn new techniques on how to make herself look dead. And I will say, I really think it's come out well, because she made wounds that were pussy and gross and like blood that kind of coagulated in such a way that it looks fresh still but hanging off you, and really did great bruising and things like that. And so what's nice about this is where a lot of people, Zombie Crawl, and they'll put just base makeup on, just kind of like draw some stuff real quick. Others will buy prosthetics and stuff like that to glue on, which is where I kind of started. We recently have gotten to a point where we create all our own. And so we use liquid latex and kind of put down and create prosthetics directly on our skin, which is a fun just kind of technique to build stuff. So got to do that, got really gross and falling apart, and then made our way out to the Zombie Crawl and just kind of went wandering around as we do. Took some photos, so looking forward to getting those out. But beyond that, I mean, it wasn't much else going on. We wandered for a while, eventually split groups and ended up with another group that's out there, and wandered from there a little bit more. Kind of didn't do as much more of the Zombie Crawl after that, but made our way up and down some, and then ended up are making our way that evening to Club Cosplay, which is a group out here that puts together cosplay events at different bars and stuff to kind of do concert or not concert so much as combination of that, but dancing and things. Have been to several of their events, and they always try to link them with whenever there's a big costuming event going on, be it a convention or in this case stuff with Halloween, that they try to put it all together so that there's stuff going on back and forth. And so
That's a
we
good
looked at
idea.
that.
Yeah.
I danced fairly significantly there. I will reiterate, or I come to believe that I will forever know how to dance alone, because I don't think people like to dance with me. In this case, I would say again more of the, I was encouraged, and I don't know, I danced hard, I guess is how I'll say. I put a lot of effort into my dancing.
That's good. The problem is that your dancing can be quite intimidating because you're quite skilled. So if you walk up to somebody and you know wanting to dance is somebody who has enough to be able to get by, you both feel like you're both being awkward, and that's fine and having fun. But you go up and you can kind of show people up quite easily. So it can be a little intimidating dancing with you.
But I will dance to the level of whoever I'm dancing with, and that's the thing. I don't
say
know.
that.
I will.
Even basic, as you know, even basic dancing can be danced well, right? If you do a basic dance like the waltz, if you do it perfectly to the beat, and you can be really good at something basic, and that's still different from somebody else, even if you're still doing something basic, you know.
I don't know. I just know that I put a lot of effort in my dancing, and unfortunately, I feel like when I do, and when I'm enjoying myself, and I'm trying to dance my butt off, at the same time, I feel like it alienates me from everyone around me. And so I've gotten very good at dancing by myself. Quite skilled at it.
That's sad.
But I don't know. It's weird because I guess I enjoy it enough that I go out there and do it. And this is why I honestly keep thinking I must look a fool. Because, again, nobody does want to dance with me. But I danced my butt off. And that part of it was fun. Although at some point I did feel a little bit like why am I bothering? Why do I dance so hard when it really does me no good? And so I then kind of lost my feels for the dancing after that. I was like, this is a
that's
bother.
really sad.
Nah, don't be sad. It's just life. But did dance throughout the night. I ended up bouncing between several clubs and bars and stuff throughout that later night than I was kind of ready or expecting to. And mostly, I would say, because my damn cats, who continue to remind me that apparently I don't need sleep to exist. As I don't recall the last time I woke up to an alarm, because it's always them fighting. And so, progress. No progress there.
Same thing with our dogs. I know the feeling.
I just realized that I have picked up 2 new roommates that now I just have to clean up for even more than previous ones. And so that's been a thing. Whatever. Yay, cats. What else have I been doing? Because that's all blah. Oh, don't do that thing. So I was talking a little bit photography, because I've been spending some of the time where I have not been socializing this week, oddly enough, to actually sit at my computer and try to catch up with photos I've taken for the last year. And I say that because unfortunately there's been several groups of photos that I just have not finished. And I'm doing it in an odd way where I'm basically working backwards through my photos. I'm doing it in such a way that I'm going from the most recent shoots I've done, and then going back as far as I can towards the older shoots I've done. In doing that, I started out, where was I at? Because Zombie Crawl just happened, but just before that, I had done my tea room experience, where you weren't here, I think, to listen to my adventures going down to Albuquerque to try out tea at the St. James Tea Room. But had taken some photos there, and I got those posted back. Worked my way further back to Denver Comic-Con to finally get all those pictures posted and done. And was working my way back towards, because I think the goal I'm trying to get to at the moment is Japan, April, when I did a lot of traveling and pictures there. But in the middle of that, I also found pictures I did from the Cosplay Circle go-round shoot that a friend of mine, Gage sets up, where I was just kind of a backup photographer for, but I still took a surprising number of photos. And so at least I've been making effort, and I think I got back to, did I finish those ones today? I think I did, or I got very close to it, but I think I finished those today as well. And so as I keep working backwards, eventually we'll make my way to Japan. But I think I've got some little random ones in between that I still have to do as well. So
Do you have any do you have any ones that you have to do soon, like any paid ones or anything?
I think I have accomplished all my paid ones because the other one I did was a shoot for. Well, it wasn't even paid, but it was a shoot, I guess bartered for family photos for my friend Chris and Stacy. I got theirs done. Theirs is in a disc in my car that I need to drop off to them. And so I've actually been pretty prolific lately. So yeah.
When you say disc, do you mean like circular CD or DVD disc, or do you mean disc as in USB disc?
Meaning a DVD that I burned because it was 3 gigs of data and would fit. And I have plenty
Oh,
of those
cool.
sitting around. So yes. And so I've been trying to get that. I'm trying to stay ahead of things so that I don't keep falling further and further behind. That's part of my reason working backwards is that way I can get things off my queue faster because I feel like whenever I'm working on older ones, as I start working on them, I get disheartened faster and kind of walk away from them. I'm just like, I don't know. I want to do this, but I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And so I kind of lose interest. And so I feel
Understandably.
like it's easier if I work from a newer one that I just did. I also feel like if I get that done and just knock it out, that it's, I don't know, it just seems like it's a lot easier for me to handle then. That I've made progress and it feels like it's real. Yeah, if that makes any sense. And so
It does, weirdly. It probably shouldn't, but it made sense to me.
Well, exactly, right? For those who've taken photos and run into this, I don't know. And all the much better photographers than me that I know that are out there. But so, been doing little things like that, trying to get around and trying to just, like, keep on top of it and make progress. So I'm hoping I will keep that up and keep going with it, but we shall see as I keep doing the photography bit. And I don't think I have anything scheduled coming up, but I don't know. There will be a lot of other stuff, I'm sure. So those are the big things there. What else? Is there anything else that is like non-geek related? Because I have some things. In fact, other stuff I have to like put in my list here of stuff to talk about that are more geek related. But non-geek. Oh, let's see. I also just in the last week celebrated a birthday for. Was it last week or the week before? Man, my dates and times. I am all over the place. I'm terrible. No, that was the week before that I celebrated birthday stuff. So yeah, no, there's just things in general. So I think that's kind of all that I have been doing that hasn't been geek. And I'm somewhat trying to stall this out. Oh, there we go. Because I was trying to find my music for the break. Since Sam's acting up again and piece of junk. But I am going to go ahead and throw one in here that I was looking for in lieu of this. Although I really should have found like one from the new movie, because it had some good music in it. It also had, was it Ariana Grande? I think was in the movie.
Ariana Grande.
Yeah, that one. That is she. I'm thinking if it's her or not. The one that always covers her face with like the wig.
She's the cute small one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
has like a big bow on the. I don't know. Maybe not. Who's the one that does that? She's kind of Euro or something that has like the big fake wig or hair that kind of covers in 2 pieces in front of her face and then the bow on the back.
IRC has a pictures of Ariana Grande for you.
So maybe that's not her, because no, that's not her. I chose the wrong one. No,
She's
some other artist.
Justin Bieber's ex or something, I think. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
so it wasn't her.
Maybe wrong. No idea.
But
No, she's a
anyhow.
Nickelodeon girl. Sorry, she's a Nickelodeon girl, not Justin Bieber's ex. I don't know why I thought that. I think I mixed her with Selena Gomez. That's why.
Oh,
Which was not racist, merely because I hate them all, not Mexicans. I mean,
Wow,
like,
wow, Ken.
I mean,
dig it deeper.
yeah, no,
Come
that
on,
was,
keep going.
Well, I didn't
Keep
mean-
going.
I meant people who are like famous due to like dumb stuff.
Keep talking. Keep talking. No, so the
Girls in their teens or 20s who are famous for dumb stuff. That's what I'm talking about here.
Oh, Ken, you're not helping us. So to fix who it was that I was trying to talk about that's in the movie, it was Sia or Sia. I'm not sure how it's just pronounced. But she always covers her face and has a big bow and such. And they made a pony version of her, and she played Songbird Serenade in the movie. So yes. Sorry. I would have loved to have actually acquired her song in this case, but I don't have it. So that's all right. I will do a different one and throw that in there. So anyhow, oh, come on. Come on. Silly thing. There we go. Do it that way. So that way I can add music, and we will take a break, and then we will come back with our geek cred for the week. So with that, you're listening to Show X on VTWProductions.com, and we'll be back. This isn't actually that long a song, so it should be all right here.
Send in your emails to showx@vtwproductions.com.
Why is there a muffin in the mailbox? Derpy hooves? Just derped in on walleye, must be hard to see. Mail hoof out, time for delivery. You notice that she's derping, you know she's thinking muffin, you know she's gonna run into that there table, baby. Package probably broke, it's stuffed up in the mail slit.
No, this is terrible. This song is horrible. I'm getting rid of this song and going to another one.
She takes the form of some pony you love and gains power by feeding off your love for them. Right you are, princess. And as queen of the changelings, it is up to me to find food for my subjects. Equestria has more love than any place I've ever encountered. My fellow changelings will be able to devour so much of it that we will gain more power than we have ever dreamed of.
You're listening to Show X on BTWProductions.com.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the show. And get ready now for some...
I'm a geek. Are you a geek? Geek cred level up!
It's time for us to talk about the things we've been doing that have been geeky and geek-related this week. So, Ken, in this time that you've been gone and running around, what have you been doing that's been a little more geek-flavored?
Well, nothing too much. I've got a couple little things that I could think of on the fly. So, first of all, while I was in Geneva, my mother-in-law works for CERN, and she was actually apologizing to me, saying, hey, I know you love CERN and science and stuff, and so I was going to get you a CERN hoodie, but sadly they were sold out, so I can't get you one. And I was like, oh, don't worry about it, like, just anything will do, like, don't worry. And she's like, all we have in the, like, they just have nothing, like, they have nothing at all. We have in the house is this CERN lab coat. And I was like,
what?
A CERN lab coat? A CERN lab coat? And she was like, do you want this? This is just like trash. And I was like, yeah. and so I now have a CERN lab coat, which is very cool. It's very,
amazing.
very, very cool. I'd be very happy.
Yeah.
So that was very neat. So I now have a real CERN lab coat, which is pretty cool. The logo on the back and everything. So now I'm going to walk around uni for no reason, even though I don't work. I work in a lab, but it's like a computer lab, right? Like just computers in a room. But now when I go to classes, I'll walk in, take off the coat, pretending that I just came in from like mixing chemicals into computers or something. I don't know. So that was really cool.
Nice.
While I was also there, we also went to a 90s birthday. A birthday party, which was one of my mother-in-law's colleagues, or I should say, one of my mother-in-law's employees, actually. Birthday party. And it was this amazing, really nice birthday party we went to. I was a little concerned about going to it because, you know, if you go to a birthday party where you don't know the person whose birthday it is, you feel a little awkward anyway. But they were really, really kind and welcoming, and it was a really nice party. And it was a 90s dress-up party.
Nice.
Which means we're finally at a stage where we can actually do 90s dress-up, which means the 90s has finally been defined as an era. Because do you remember in the early 2000s when we kept saying, like, I wonder what the 90s looks like? Like, it feels just like now. Like, what's the
I
difference?
remember it because I lived through it completely and was styling in high school then, so yes.
Well, for me, I was born in the 91, so it's I lived through most of it, but I only really experienced half of it. But to me, it was just a case of, you know, 90s, like, I didn't think anything of it. But then when I was looking at like stuff online, I was like, oh wait, yeah, the 90s definitely had a style. Like, if you go back and watch Friends or something, like a TV show in the 90s, and you see the clothes they're wearing and the hair they have, you're like, yeah, okay, that's now a defined era. Like, can you imagine what the knots are, the 2000s, right? Like, what is that style? I have no idea right now. Right now, I have no idea what that style is. Or what about the 2010s? I have no idea what that style is. Nobody does, right? But in like 30 years down the line, we'll be like, yeah, obviously that's what it looks like. Obviously. Everybody looked like that back then.
Duh.
Yeah, and that's just the way it'll be. Strange how these things work. So that was cool going to that party, but I went dressed as Commander Riker from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
So that makes a lot more sense now about, you know, which or why I saw that, you know, the outfits that you and Kitten Features were wearing, because I truly was like, I don't get it. I don't know what this is about. Or were you at some kind of Halloween party, but it's before Halloween? I'm confused. And so that makes so much more sense now.
Yeah, it was a 90s party, so it was lots of fun. I had 3 people come up and ask me. First of all, they said, "Live long and prosper," and I was like, "Wrong series, but that's fair enough." Okay. And then they also said, "Captain Picard," and I was like,
Oh, gosh.
"No, I have a beard and hair, and I'm definitely not Captain Picard." And also, Captain Picard is not
funny.
a commander, which is what the pips say. But okay, I didn't actually say any of that because, you know, it wasn't a con where you'd expect people to know these things. Instead, I was just like, I'm Commander Riker, but thanks. Yeah, right series, whatever, close. But it was cool. I ordered a generic like red vest thing, the Star Trek vest with the little signal insignia on it.
Yep.
And I trimmed my beard down to Commander Riker's size, because it was down here a few weeks ago. But I trimmed it up, which it feels weird now. I feel kind of naked. And my hair is also now quite short to fit in line with Commander Riker. And Ken features dressed as Councillor Deanna Troi. Now, that being said, her actual dress for the Deanna Troi stuff on eBay and on Amazon and elsewhere is really expensive. Like, it's like $200+ for most of these things. We could see anyway in the UK. And so we gave in trying to find something that's like the legit copy of it, and instead just went for like a generic Star Trek blue dress. She actually went for an original series dress, so technically it's quite far away from what Deanna Troi would wear. However, it looked the part. It was absolutely fine, and no, I don't think anybody noticed. In fact, I heard nothing. In fact, I don't think Ken even knows that it was the original series, so it worked out just fine. But we had lots of fun, and that was quite a geeky thing to do, is dress up in Star Trek. So that was good fun. Funnily enough, if you went to 90s party and you went as like a family, what would you dress up as? Just as a random thought.
Family. Oh man, I guess it would depend in general on kind of, I don't know what all's around, but I would see like, oh gosh, I would want to say I could see like, what was it? 90s would be. So I was thinking like Home Improvement might be one that you could do, something like that.
That's a good one.
I mean, Friends is more a group than a family. What were other families from the 90s that were big ones?
So the reason I ask is that we had three families. We had three families show up as the exact same thing.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
The Addams family.
Is it 90s? I figure they're older than that.
The 90s for that version, right? There's two main versions.
Well, the
90s
movies
was the
and
more
stuff
recent
like
one.
that, and yeah, so.
Yeah, right. Like all that. So that's what people did go and dressed up as. We had three families do that, including our in-laws, my in-laws, dressed as an Addams family. So it was funny. It was just strange because like you wouldn't expect a nice party to have three different families. There's only like 50 people at the party, but like approximately a quarter of all the people at the party were all dressed as Addams family, which was funny. We were the only Star Trek. There was a few other things I didn't recognize most of them, to be honest. Most of them were quite obscure. A couple politicians, etc., as well, which were more French-based or Genevan-based. So I really didn't get them. But it was really good fun, really nice party, and it was great. I really do appreciate them and taking us along there. So on my drive down south to Ipswich 2 weeks ago and back, it's a long drive, right? It's like 8-9 hours each way, and in the UK, that's pretty much as long a drive as you can pretty much get, unless you're going peak to peak. So I had to queue up some stuff to listen to, and I was like, I can listen to some podcasts, and I was like, nah, I don't really feel like listening to like different things, if you know what I mean. Like if it's like 8 separate episodes of a podcast, that would kind of annoy me. I'd rather just listen to one thing. And I was like, you know what, I've been meaning to go and listen to or go read American Gods. So what I'll do is I'll get the audiobook version of American Gods, and I'll go to that. And I did. So American Gods is what I listened to all the way down and all the way up, and I'm still not finished it yet. Still got a bit to go. But it's really enjoyable. I'm now far ahead as to where I was in the series, which was the first 2 episodes. And it's great fun. In fact, I'm kind of annoyed that I don't have any means to listen to it now, because I don't have any time free where I can sit for a couple of hours and listen to it. You know, unlike, because when I travel to work, it's like 10 minutes, and it's a carpool, so I can't listen to a story. And when I'm working, I don't want to sit listening to something I have to concentrate on, because I'll just ignore it otherwise. So I really don't have time to actually listen to it, which is really annoying, because I really want to read the rest of it, or listen to the rest of it. I also listened to some of the Dark Tower as well, and that's actually what I chose to originally listen to, but the download that I had broke off like halfway through book 1, went to book 2, and then I was like, no, stop. And so I just turned it off and went over to, instead of trying to fix it while driving, because that's dangerous, I just switched over to American Gods, which I really enjoyed. Gotcha. But Dark Tower was quite enjoyable as well. I got to like the 3rd book a decade ago, and then I gave up. So I've been starting from book 1 again, and I'm like halfway through it before I go any further. But I do plan to continue on at some point. But that's everything I've been doing. I've not played any games other than Hearthstone, really, because like I said, it's the first time this machine's been on in a month, which used to be my gaming machine. I I was vaguely encouraged by some colleagues of mine to go purchase a cheap graphics card. Like even if I get like a 700, 800 series, it'd be like £100. It'd be pretty cheap, and I could probably game most of the games I want to do and get my PC back to a working state. And I was like, that's a really good point. I never really thought of it that way. I only ever thought like I should properly upgrade to a modern thing, and I didn't even really consider the fact that I can get like somewhere in the middle. That's a good idea, but the fact that I've not been in this room for a month implies shows how much I need that graphics card right now. I just don't have the time. When I'm not working, I'm spending time with Kitten. When I'm not spending time with Kitten, I'm working or sleeping, and that's my life. So
I understand.
An absolute waste of money right now. Sadly, as much as I really do miss video games, I would love to get the Shadow of Mordor expansion coming out. I think in 2 days or something. I really would like to get that and play that, but I can't. And I'd also really like to play a bunch of the games I haven't been able to in the past, including Witcher 2, Witcher 3, and what's the other one I really wanted to touch? Light something?
Dying Light or...
Dying Light, yes, Dying Light. I really want to play that, and couldn't Battlefield 4 as well. My gold graphics card just couldn't even open it. So all these different games I have that I would love to play, I just can't. Even games I missed, like RimWorld and... Factorio, I'd really like to get back into. I just can't because I just don't have the time or the graphics card ability to do so. So Hearthstone has been tiding me over, and actually, weirdly enough, chess. I've been playing quite a lot of chess because I am bad at chess, and I realize I'm embarrassingly bad at chess, and so I've been taking the time to learn chess. I already knew I knew the moves. I knew but I didn't know I didn't know which opening move was best. I pretty much just moved randomly and then tried to see what I could see on the board. But I've learned that there's some specific things you can do at the very beginning that are really good, and I've learned there's phases of the game, like there's the middle stage, the beginning stage, and the end stage. Like pawns at the very start are worth nothing, but at the end of the game, pawns are worth like more than queens in terms of like getting them to the end because they're worth multiple queens, right? Yes. And all that sort of stuff. So I've been enjoying doing that as well. But that's been most of my time in Geek. So, sorry, what have you been up to recently?
Oh gosh, what have I been doing? So, geek-wise, as I've been having all kinds of challenges back and forth depending on what I'm doing. And actually, before that, I do want to read a quick email that came in, or that one that we had there. Sure. This one, it's a short email, but it comes in from our friend Copy and says, "Happy birthday, drunk, fearless leader, Dr. Lord Reverend, Professor and Bachelor of Science with the highest of honors, Kenneth Neil Reed II."
Thank you very much. So many titles.
That coming from much love, Copy. I wanted to make sure to get that in there before we go much further. But yes, absolutely. For me, and as it goes into Geek. So I've been fighting with networking and things in my house still. I had an issue.
Still?
Well, yes and no. Like everything was working, but one of the challenges I've still had is that my network has not all been going at full speed. I was running into little issues with slower than others. And one of the things I'd noted was that when I got this new Unify Switch that I have, the Ubiquiti brand, that I was running a software bridge in it so that it could properly move data how it's supposed to as a router. The challenge is it's not really defined to do that. It's meant to be just a router. And so I eventually said, screw it, went and bought a new Ubiquiti managed switch to throw into it. That way I could connect from the router to the switch, and the switch could properly, federate throughout the network, and hopefully clean up some of those challenges. Problem with it is, I have come to find out it's not just the switch that's causing an issue. I think the switch that actually feeds my entire basement is suffering after the lightning strike that had happened, and I kind of bounced my cord that I have in my computer right now between a few slots, and in doing so, essentially found that one of my slots next to me is only running at like 20 megabit. My current one's running about 100 megabit, and a couple of the others are equally not good. And so I'm not sure if there's cabling issues or if it's the switch itself. And so I've been doing some slight testing, but I haven't come with an answer yet. And so with that, I need to go back through and keep working on that. But the thing I have changed and added was doing in my new switch, that is a managed switch, and I'm starting to expand and learn better how to do networking throughout in a more professional way. But I still have some challenges, things to do with that. And in fact, I haven't actually gotten into the switch itself to configure it directly. It's kind of just running it as a dumb switch at the moment. But anyhow, so I've been working with that to try to fix it up and do better for my network before I do another Game Fest. Also, I've been challenged and working with 3D printing. For those who have been following my challenges there, my hotbed on my new printer had been giving me issues again. The old Pogo board design they have, which is the little springy connectors that you need.
Are we saying, yeah?
Yep, it connects. My newer board that I got from Robo failed again. And so I only was printing about a month on it before it failed. Contacted Robo again, was a little snarky or heated in my messages that I sent them. But got a quick response because I was snarky in the sense that I said, hey, could you send me another replacement for this? And oh, by the way, could I get like an extra 2 or 3 for when this one dies? And that way I'm ready to keep printing, right? They informed me that, oh, by the way, they were working on a new design for the hotbed to avoid that issue. And that they would be releasing a new one within about a week, and I would be on a rush order to get a new one. So
and is that for free, yes?
Yes, this is still under my warranty.
Okay, that's
Robo
good.
gives you a 1-year warranty, or it's like 6-month minimal, and then something else past that. But and I'm still within the window, so absolutely. So I was kind of like, sure, that would be great. We'll see, because I have to get these prints done to send out now this coming week in order to make it in time. And so I was like, oh, I hope you do. Well, sure enough, they followed through. And I got the shipping order, got it in.
Good.
And I have it in and printing again now. I'm doing a video about it so that you guys can, anyone who's curious can see what they've done as changes and hear my thoughts on how it's progressed. And so as soon as this print finishes that's going now, I'll finish up that video and get it posted. But I will tell you that it is, I think, an improvement. I wish, I mean, it was very straightforward how to do it. I didn't really have to ask any questions. I just was able to figure out myself. I wish that I had learned, or if they had had more direction on what I needed to do, because the changing it out and getting printing again was easy. That part was straightforward. Understanding the difference in the type of board they sent me compared to because they had updated and they're using what is it called, BuildTak as a surface for it, where my current one was glass. This BuildTak is a company that's produced a kind of different kind of polymer or kind of material for the surface that allows prints to stick more efficiently, but at the same time it's not like a glass. So one of the things I was not aware of or careful enough with this is that I have already basically ruined the new print surface. And so I need for them to, on the site, release updated prints or more where I can get replacement print surfaces, because that I'll have to buy myself for this BuildTak. But I did not treat it properly. I was not aware of how to, and I dug into it and essentially ripped part of it open, which sucks, and it's going to affect prints of mine. The other thing that I did, unfortunately, was that I didn't pay attention to that as I positioned the new board on it, rehoning the Z-axis, and so when I was printing based on the old one, it was so low to hit against the glass to really get a good first layer. This one was too low, and I was actually digging into the material as well. And so I was already in my first prints of it destroying the new bed, or at least the surface that's on top. Thankfully, it's removable. There's screws around it, and I should be able to remove it. And I think each BuildTak plate costs about $10 to $15. And so whenever they're available, I will get them. I looked at the company itself, but they don't have the right sizes for the R2. Theirs are for other types of printers and some generic sheets where this needs a specific kind. And so I'm looking forward to whenever Robo figures this out and gets enough that they have extras. So yeah, so we'll look at that. So that was 3D printing. Did you want to jump to the email that came in, or?
Is there a new one?
Yes. So we got an email from
I can do that.
And if so, I'd let you jump into that before I finish my geek cred.
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. Okay, so, dudes, it's been quite a while, but here's some updates. Ellipses. #1, close bracket. Hit prestige in Overwatch, double ellipses. Now the bar has been set so high in competitive placement matches. I'm currently 0-4. Yeah, that's always the problem with any of these games, is that once you go up a league, you can feel the difference very quickly. It's painful, in fact. Freaking Skynet owned my computer for a week. Accidentally clicked on a link. Oh, shoot. After slamming my mouse in anger, instantly downloading ransomware.
Oh, no.
I felt like a huge disconnect from the internet, but with Discord and YouTube on my phone, it didn't last long. Oh, okay. Dude, that sucks. Happens to everybody. hit a midnight pre-release for the latest Magic the Gathering set, and lo and behold, I've realized one thing. I don't have the endurance to play a single card game in public until 5 a.m. like I could 10 to 15 years ago. Yeah, that's another thing that happens to all of us as well, is that age factor, sadly.
Right.
I'm the same. I really, like, my birthday this year is, I went to a soft acoustic concert, and then 3 weeks after my birthday, I'm going to this thing called the Enchanted Forest, where there's lots of pretty lights in the forest for me to take photos of.
Nice.
I remember the days where I used to get really drunk and go out and go crazy. So we all go through that, sir. I know the feeling. I couldn't do it an all-nighter now. I definitely couldn't. I'm tired right now, and it's like almost 9. Number 4, I created a YouTube channel solely for stream archives and Overwatch highlights due to having an issue of being able to log into my main account. Couldn't reset my password for 6 months without having to pay Google $250 to actually talk to a human. Oh, shoot, I had no idea. But I ended up aggravating the hell out of them so bad on social media, they sent me the... And that's the end of the sentence. Okay. Number 5. Cup check. I was highly judged by coworkers and customers alike when I randomly queued up some K and J pop on Spotify without any rhyme or reason. Understandably. Sorry for the long wall of TXT. Cup check. Thank you for the email, sir. That amused me. I enjoyed that. Thank you.
That is entertaining. That's funny. And yeah. Finish your statements. We are all confused. No, that is good. Let's see. So, continuing with my geek cred, thank you for that email. I did do some minor gaming here and there this week. The main thing that I got to play a little bit of is I got to participate in the Battlefront 2 beta that was just done by EA on their Origin service. If people remember, Battlefront 1 was the Star Wars themed kind of Battlefield type game, but was a lot of criticism was thrown at Battlefront 1 for being basically too small of a game for the price they were charging. That it was neat and people enjoyed the multiplayer, but that it was just very myopic in what your experience was. And with Battlefront 2, one of the funny things is they're pushing hard for the all the advertising on this. In fact, they have the actor. What was it? They have some of the actors, but the main one they had was the one that plays Finn from the episode 7. Go in and actually talk about Battlefront 2, and when you load up the beta, he was in there discussing what you were about to experience in the beta. So they're definitely doing a full press to try to say, please like this game. Also, they talk specifically to answer that criticism by saying this game is at least 4 times bigger in all forms than the previous. And they show little charts to show how many maps the original had versus Battlefront 2, game modes, characters, unlockables, vehicles, things like that. So they're really pushing to say this is going to be a much larger game than the previous. And so that's exciting. Now, I played it. I only went through a couple maps of it real quick. I played the Naboo level where you are either clone troopers or droids going to push an objective. In this case, as the droids, you're trying to invade the palace of Naboo, and you are in the main city, and you're pressing this massive kind of troop carrier type thing, and you have to defend it as it's making its way towards the palace. And then as the clones, you're trying to stop it, and you bring up these ion kind of lasers, but I'd say more like rocket launchers that you're then shooting at to disable the transport coming through. And so back and forth pitch battle against all real people as you're fighting back and forth. Had success on both ends of that to some level, mostly on the defense side. I don't think I ever had a success as the droids pushing into the palace. But it's kind of a cool way that it did, because there are checkpoints that you would make it along, and which would push up your spawn points. And if you got all the way through the main part of it, it would push into the palace, and the final battle was holding points in the palace itself. And it was pretty fun. They've tweaked in the game system the way that you unlock super abilities or characters, and or the characters in either vehicles and stuff like that in each map. It used to be that as you're playing through, you'd go and find kind of spawn point icons on the map, and then you could run and grab them. If it wasn't spawned yet, you could click onto it and then spawn that character or vehicle or something like that to kind of improve your side's odds. In this one, what they've done is they basically, for everything you do in the game, you get points that are spendable currency in-game by your team. And so what happens is, if your whole team's fighting, when you come to go back to respawn after dying, you'll have an option to potentially spend some of the team's money. For
like that.
better or worse, because admittedly, if you jump on it versus someone else jumps on it right before you, there could be that little bit of like angst of, well, I wanted to be the special character. But I like it because it seems a little more balanced, a little more.
Well, it
even.
depends. As long as it encourage people to kill themselves, right?
Well, I don't know if it would, because it's just a point at which however much you gain for points per, and it just keeps adding up. And the problem is there's tiers of that, because you may be able to get just a slightly mid-range character above your base ones for a lower cost than the hero characters or certain vehicles. And so there's also a game of, do you spawn some mid-ranked ones now, or do you wait as a team until you can spawn a bigger one that hopefully will turn the tides even more? But it was really, really straightforward.
I love that kind of thing because it just reminds me of like the good times in Alterac Valley when those overpowered bosses you could summon. Where, like, if you had a full team of, like, top-level, epic, raid-level stuff, they'd have a chance of taking it down. But in PvP gear, like, your PvP gear was not made to actually take down PvE monsters like that. And so they would just wreck the enemy because nobody had, like, the tanking gear or anything to actually take that thing down.
Gotcha.
So you had to, like, you had to make your team have a nice mix of, like, PvE and PvP gear to make it worthwhile, and plus, you never know, people could just upgrade the troops to have lots of health or whatever else. And I love that extra like meta game element to it. The Warcraft 3 often had a lot of, actually, in a lot of the games you could play there, where the original type Dota type games where you could upgrade your towers and so on. I really like that kind of stuff. Where you play one character, but you, as a team, you can together pool your resources and do something that's really useful for your team.
Absolutely.
I think it's really cool. So yeah, I really love that idea. And if they pull it off successfully, where there's not just like, oh, if you don't do X, then you suck, and then if you don't then do Y, then you suck. I'd like it if it's actually like each one has its own different benefits, and there's like a, like it's kind of a circle of power where like in RuneScape, for example, where the warriors are really good at killing the archers are really good at killing the mages, and the mages are really good at killing the warriors. If you can do that on a larger scale. And do that properly with the meta game of one of these Battlefront matches, that's so cool, because you actually have to think about it, there's logic behind it, you have to preempt what the enemy will do, and so on and so forth. Reactive as well as proactive.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I thought it was balanced a lot of ways, too, because while the hero characters can wreck and do a lot of damage, they're not invincible. One of the things I noted is as I was running through, like, as you play it, you have extra kind of quick abilities. So your Q, E, and F keys by default each have a cooldown ability. So I think it was much like the first, where your Q being a grenade of some sort, just that you could toss, do some damage. So good grenade. And what was it, E on this one, or I think it was the E on mine for basic assault, because there's 4 base classes for the ground game that you can start as. Turn into like a short range shotgun type of blaster type thing.
That's neat.
You could only use for a few shots, and then it would go back to your regular rifle. And I forget what the F was, because it's kind of closer to your special ability or something like that, but it's usually a bonus type thing. But I remember at one point, it's telling me to defend the transport we're moving, and I saw on my map marker a thing that said like attack this point thing. And as I came around the corner, what it was is, basically picking up these ion little blaster things. They point them out on the map so you know who you need to take out before they damage the transport. In this case, when I came around the corner, I knew I was close because of the map, so I switched to the shotgun right before coming around. I walk around the corner and I see Chewbacca. And so someone who had spawned a nicer character there, and I'd seen on the other side before fighting some people, so I turned, saw Chewbacca, and just opened up on him like 3 or 4 shots and downed him before he even got a shot off towards me. And so
nice.
That felt really good in that moment, that I was able to take out a hero champ with the shotgun because I was aware enough to come around the corner and blast him with it. So that was pretty cool.
That's pretty satisfying.
Yeah, it was. Other than that, because I didn't spawn too much of the hero characters, I was doing well enough with the base ones. I also played the space battles they had. They had an example of space battles, which is a pitched battle in the traditional Star Wars universe, episode 4 or 5 type time frame. And in it, you're either Imperials or Rebels. As basically the scenario that's happening is that you're at a shipyard, and that there's a Star Destroyer that's been powered down there to be repaired. And so you're trying to come in as either the Rebels, or you're trying to defend, but Rebels are coming in to try to take out the Star Destroyer while it's in dry dock, essentially, while it's being repaired. Mm-hmm. And so in the mission, as you go flying in, both sides have a couple of kind of larger ships that are Corvette class that are able to be support. And these are AI controlled with larger blaster turrets and stuff on them, shooting at whoever gets close and generally fighting. You all spawn in regular ships, and you from the Rebel perspective, you come in as either a TIE fighter, a TIE Advanced, I'm saying as a Rebel. And I start saying Imperial. You come in as an X-Wing, an A-Wing, Y-Wing, or what was the last one? I don't think it was a B-Wing. As well as there were some higher spawn ones of like not quite Corvette class, but bigger ships. And then on the Imperial side, it's all various versions of TIE fighters, TIE Interceptor, TIE Advance, TIE Bomber, and I forget, maybe it was only 3 of each spawn types, and then the Hero class stuff. Because I know on one side the Hero class was Slave 1, on the other side you had Millennium Falcon, or some things like that, but I never got to one of them. But what's cool is you're flying around this bigger dock, essentially, in space, and you see the Star Destroyer there. Initially, you can't just go to attack it. You want to go in and get your forces to actually get close enough to attack the main building, and you have to take out some of these defense corvettes they have. And then once you take those out, inside the actual platform that the dock is at are a bunch of shield generators. You have to take those all down, and once you take those down, you can actually attack the Star Destroyer itself. So it's another stage kind of
That's
approach.
cool.
The flying
As it should be, because it makes sense, because otherwise the people will just rush to the end every time.
Exactly,
much
yeah.
like Ultimate Galaxy again became the later stages, which was bad, right? So.
Yep. So it was actually really fun to play, and it ran super smooth and looked gorgeous. Throughout the game, both in the flight and in the ground game, you have the option in-game to switch between third and first-person modes. In third, you can go either left or right shoulder look, and then first-person, if you double-click I think it was C to change your view, it takes you right back into first-person. So that was an interesting concept. Sometimes they limit you to one or the other. Same thing in the ships, that you could go back and forth. The ships also had special abilities, and that you could just do a targeting thing. I think the TIE Fighter, I might have had the best look with one of them where the E or something was like a charge attack that would charge up and then unleash like a flurry of blaster bolts. And so if you, and then the last one was basically a torpedo, ion torpedo type of shooting. And each one of them has a cooldown, again, to do the special abilities. So you can just be flying around, but when they're available, man, use them. And so I was able to use all the abilities to help take down the bigger ships, the Corvette types, and had good success with that. And it was a good time. So in general, just from the beta, I had a lot of fun playing Battlefront 2. And am now more kind of looking forward to when it comes out. I may be interested in checking it out. After Battlefront 1, I thought with the price and everything, just had no desire. This one, I'm actually curious again. So curious everyone else's thoughts on what they would like to see, if they're even interested or following what's going on from EA about Battlefront 2. Especially as we get ready for the next movie at the end of the year. But just in general, if it's something you guys are watching. So that was a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. Also, I started watching an anime series again, Full Metal Alchemist. Started picking up again because I am in desperate need of starting on my first major ridiculous cosplay of trying to do Alphonse Elric from Full Metal Alchemist, which is essentially a full suit of armor. And figuring out how I'm going to go about making a cosplay suit of armor. So I am in
Yeah,
the
it
stage
sounds expensive to say the least.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking about the cost. I'm just thinking about how. Because it'll be mostly plastic, so it's easy to transport, but making it look like metal, wear like armor, and still be this amazing, epically sized thing. And so anyone who's curious, just look up Alphonse Elric. That's an ALPHONSE, Alphonse. And you'll see the kind of armor I'm trying to do. It will be interesting. So I've been watching it a little bit to get back into the character of it, as well as going through and taking screenshots wherever I can of his character, as well as from the new live-action movie that's coming out in Japan this month, I think. But taking any shots from the trailer on that, of how they're doing the kind of like live-action version, and I'm going to blend them all together to come up with whatever it is I build for this. I was teased because my friend that I originally promised I would do this for in Anime Boston next year sent a picture of her in her Edward Elric costume to say, haha, I made my move, where's your costume? So I need to start designing so I can start printing or something or doing whatever to build this thing. Finally, I have a pass that I got here just the other day, and I'm looking forward to heavily from one of the bigger network events in the world for gaming, the bigger LAN parties. I got my Founders Pass for Denver DreamHack. And so
that looks like
DreamHack
fun.
is happening in basically 2 weekends from now. I doubt I will be on the show for that, but we'll see. I may bring enough equipment to try to broadcast from it. We shall see. And I think with the Founders Pack, I'm at a table that has upgraded internet, upgraded Switch, upgraded stuff like that from the rest. So essentially, I should be able to stream throughout, and I should be able to try to do the show on Sunday if I'm not doing a tournament or something. Maybe a height or a shortened one or something that weekend. So we'll see. As well as, so we'll see what goes on that. So that's pretty much what I have that's not geek. So any follow-ups on you, sir, or what should we talk about beyond that?
Well, we've got the Geekoscope still to go, so I'm happy to go with that. But that's sounds like you've got both had a lot of good geek experiences, and you've got a lot to go as usual. And I'm always jealous of your lifestyle in this sense.
Please don't be. It is a terrible thing I do. It is not nearly as fun as it sounds.
Technology, news, and more today on the Geekoscope.
So, in the Geekoscope this week, and Kuro, you don't want to know how much the Founders Pass was. This is like all things in my life. I throw money at my problems. Don't be like me. But let's just say it was probably 3 times as much as the regular BYOC pass. Actually, more than that, but a lot. But hey, I get a cool sweatshirt with it, and I got to already pick my seat, and they gave me a little place I'm supposed to be able to sleep if I would need to. Yay.
That's pretty cool. Do you have free drinks?
No, there's no drinking in the establishment. Or at least no
shame.
actual drinking. So, yay. Anyhow, sir, I will defer to you on news. What do you have for us this week?
Sure. I have 3 main things. So first of all, I wanted to kind of laugh at the ongoing shenanigans with Cuphead, that game that came out recently.
Yes.
So it's available on Steam. It's got 10 out of 10 on ratings on Steam, 86% on Metacritic, and 4.4 out of 5 on Microsoft.
Wow.
I don't know how Microsoft is a rating, but apparently it is. To put it simply, according to their Steam, anyway, they are Cuphead is a run-and-gun indie video game development published by Studio MDHR Entertainment. As the titular character of Cuphead, the player fights a series of bosses in order to repay a debt to the devil. Now, what's really interesting about this is how it's been affecting games journalism, because there's been a huge outcry between it's like the echoes of Gamergate still resound through games journalism and the consumers of games, as well as the journalism involved. And this game in particular has been frequently known as having the reincarnated soul of Dark Souls within it. It's a very difficult platformer game.
Okay.
A very tough one, and very challenging and punishing for when you fail. However, it's beautiful, very pretty game. The sound in it is amazing. The soundtrack's really nice. It's all very original. It looks very old school, cartoony almost. And it's actually got a nice story behind it as well. The developers of this game actually mortgaged and sold their houses and went into starvation in order to be able to fund the production of this game. So it's so good to see that it's doing so well and being rated so highly by the users, I should say. Now, games journalism as a whole in the first couple of days were slating this game heavily for being far too difficult. Because they thought that it was absolutely fair to be able to critique a game and say whether it's good or not based on how tough the tutorial is. And in fact, one of the things that was particularly funny was a video that came out last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, of a video games journalist, I can't remember which one, who tried to do the tutorial live on air and failed repeatedly when the instructions of how to pass, how to climb over a tower or whatever, were directly in front of him. Now, while I haven't played it myself, I don't have a gaming PC right now, and so I can't comment on the difficulty. I can, however, say that as a games journalist, when that is your title, you're generally expected to have a vague semblance of ability to play games. Now, I'm not saying you need to be a pro. Pros are pros, right? Journalists are journalists. You're meant to be able to experience the game, however. In order to actually write an article or do a YouTube video discussing how good the game is, you need to actually be able to play and experience the majority, if not all, of the game. Right? And that includes multiplayer, single player, hard difficulty, easy difficulty, the hard bonus panels that's difficult to get to, extra secret levels, all that stuff you need to be able to get to properly review the game. You can't just play the tutorial and then say, this game is crap, right? However, multiple games journalism sites have come out and said that this game tries too hard to be the next Dark Souls and difficulty does not make a good game. And while that last statement is indeed correct, that the difficulty does not make a good game, it does certainly separate the good journalists from the bad.
Well, at least the good gamers from the bad. Well, because there's a thing to that, right? Because, okay, I've been offered review copies for lots of games being part of VTW and doing the press stuff we have with the podcast. I purposely don't choose ones if I can't spend the appropriate time necessary to write a review. So I don't want to take ones I can't. I've had a couple hit me where there's at least one I'm sitting on that is too hard for me. And in a sense that it takes a lot, they had to do some updates, and when I started it again, they actually sent emails out saying, hey, would you try to check it out again? It's not too hard in that it's just difficult to play. It's that there's so little instruction that you're fumbling through a lot. Like the base tutorial is not quite there.
Entirely, I'm saying.
But I know people who have really spent a lot of time with it, and they seem to be loving it. So it's kind of instead of me blasting it for me not being able to deal with it, I'm kind of holding back. Either to a point where I can play it again and get better and play it and then truly enjoy it, and maybe just talk that there's a high learning curve. But I'm not just going to blast the game because I personally have had trouble with it. It doesn't.
Absolutely, no, that's very fair of you. I mean, I'm sure that if somebody made a game that is ridiculous, like to the point of like, if you're aiming at an enemy and you must hit the correct pixel, then there is an element of that's inhuman to be able to play. However, I highly doubt many developers will make games like that because generally they want to be able to sell games, right?
Yeah, they don't want to be so hard nobody wants to play.
Tutorial, then nobody's going to recommend it, right? So, clearly that kind of implies that the game's journalist in this case was just unable to do this. Now, I want to reiterate that point I said earlier. Nobody is saying that you need to be an expert. You really don't. I mean, like, it's understandable that as even a games journalist, you struggle with a game like this. But you just need to bash your head against it repeatedly until you get to a stage that you can review it, or you don't review it, like Wayne has said. Because that's the wise and sensible, mature adult thing to do. Because if you have been trusted, even given a free copy of this game, or not, regardless, but if you are trusted to give out fair criticism and praise of these works of art and technology combined into this perfect form, you need to have the ability to actually experience it. You need to get far enough in the game to actually say whether it's good or not. Would you go to a restaurant and have one thing off the menu and say that it's crap, as a crap restaurant? No, if you were a true food critic, you would go in there and try multiple dishes, right? You would talk about the variety of things they have available on the menu. You wouldn't go in, order a Hawaiian pizza, take a bite of the crust and say, it's too tough, and walk out. That's not being a critic. That's not how you do it. You need to experience the whole thing. And so it's been really highlighting the fact that games journalists are often just journalists trying to find a niche, and don't necessarily have any actual ability to play games or respect for the genre, which is the more saddening thing here. I mean, even if you can't play the game to that level, nobody's going to blame you for that, or anybody who does is a fool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being bad at the game. It's all about enjoying it, right? However, if you're critiquing the game, you need to be able to experience it. That's all we ask, that you have the respect for the genre, that you actually produce reviews on games that you've actually played. Like, and to be fair, I've done it in the past in the show. I've sat here and said, I've only played 10-15 minutes of this game and I don't like it. That's the point. I say that I've only done 10-15 minutes of the game, and I say that it's not fair for a real review, so don't take it as a real review. Take it as the fact that the first 10-15 minutes I didn't enjoy. Now, that isn't. But the other major point there is that that's never. I've never said that I have skill. I've never had a problem with that. I've never had a game that I haven't been able to complete, apart from maybe horror games. That's a different thing entirely. Where I haven't been able to play it to the point where due to difficulty, it's usually just that I can't play it due to the fact I'm not enjoying it after 50 minutes, or as a repetitive Facebook clicker or something like that, which is an entirely different kettle of fish. And so I just wanted to bring up this point because I think it's a very, very interesting thing. It's been sweeping around Twitter, multiple different forums around online and different news sites, and it's been very comedic. Especially that one video. I'll see if I can find it and put in the notes of that one chap who can't actually do the Cuphead tutorial.
So I've heard some things about it, and it's funny to me because I've seen some memes, and I wasn't really aware of what they were about until now. because that's hilarious. But yes, where people basically said, "Oh, this game must be crap. I am too terrible to get through tutorial kind of stuff." And so that's, now that you've brought that up, it's fun for me to know what that's about.
There's the link to games journalist, as the title of the video says, struggles to a Cuphead tutorial jump. It's not even, it's just jumping.
Oh gosh, I'm going to have to look at this.
Long.
That's so bad.
It's so funny. So funny.
See, I also.
But yes, you're correct.
As a heads up, when you're talking about horror games, those are also ones I've pretty much not finished because they tend to be too scary for me, and I don't like to play them alone. And so it's one that I say this because it's Halloween month, and I am going, to try to, how do I put it? I'm going to stream at some point some of me just failing playing scary games, because I will do that for my fans. If not for myself, I will stream my pain. And so
so over the years, over the past 3 or 4 years, I've done this every year where I stream horror games, and it's in order to give others amusement more than anything, and to challenge myself, I suppose. But sadly, this year, due to the fact that my PC isn't working, I will not be doing this, which is, I gotta say, I'm kind of glad about it. In exchange, however, I have a friend at the university who has one of the latest version of the Oculus Rift, and has Alien Isolation and wants me to play it. In a room of other people. So that's going to be particularly violently scary due to the fact that I am an absolute scaredy cat when it comes to horror games in general. Never mind the fact that it's going to have the Oculus Rift for the first time me ever using it at that. This is going to be amusing. It's going to probably go viral on YouTube, my reaction. I would not be surprised. Because I might wet myself.
Nice. Yeah. No, it's a good time of year for that, but oh gosh, I feel your pain. So yes. All right, sweet. So yeah, Cuphead. What did I have? I knew I had one in here. So one that I thought was interesting is a lot of people I know out there have been posting that they were able to get in to getting a pre-order of the SNES Mini Classic that Nintendo's released. Well, news has come out that, hey, Nintendo's SNES Mini has been out for all of what they say in this article is 4 days before hackers and tinkers cracked the code and began adding their own games. And it's a head scratcher, really. Not that hackers managed to hijack firmware and add their own titles, but that Nintendo didn't offer them up itself as a digital download. Right? I know I can't be the only one who would have shelled out $5 or $10 for Chrono Trigger. All right. YouTuber Skullator, from what he can be told, appears to be the first with a full-blown tutorial on how to hack the console yourself by using an unofficial build of HackChi 2. It's not for the faint of heart. In fact, it wouldn't be recommended by this article unless you're okay with the potential of bricking your console. If you're okay with the risk and have a firm grasp on Python, you can follow the video and try it out. If you're a little more risk-adverse, you may want to wait for an official build. But basically saying the first out there to say, yep, you can throw on your own games, which doesn't surprise me because it's not like they have individual cartridges in the mini versions. It's a hard drive somewhere in there with the games on it, right? And so it can't be that much harder to add a few more of the games or, an extra large, what would be hard drive or basically, flash card or something like that to be able to then load all the media you'd want. So that doesn't surprise me, but it's actually kind of interesting for me to hear that it's already been cracked. And hey, for those who did get them, might be a future platform for you to just load all the Nintendo games you want on there.
Doesn't entirely surprise me they got hacked so quickly because, that's what people do. They enjoy doing that for a reason.
They do. All right, sir, back to you.
I choose you. Okay, so I want to do a little discussion on the Google Pixel 2, which has been announced this week. Which is the Google Pixel came out a couple of years ago, and it was seen as their new, not necessarily flagship, but it was they're one of their new most impressive and almost like a prototype phone. It's always been seen as like this is where they show the most recent features that are kind of gimmicky or whatever else, and it's where they're unaffiliated with other people entirely. So it's just Google, and I like that idea. Google Pixel 2 has been announced. It's the second smartphone under the Made by Google label, and on paper is better in every way almost, according to this article on techradar.com.
Okay.
It's the smaller version of the Pixel 2 XL, and with the backing of the company's far-reaching search and assist capabilities, Google says it's smarter and simpler. So I don't want to get I don't want to go through everything, but here's the cut to the chase section. It's Google's new flagship. It is now their flagship phone, they're saying. It costs starting at $649 or £629. Jesus, the pound dollar is far too close now.
Bad.
That's crazy. And it will pre-orders are open now, but hit stores October 19th. I was hoping to see more in the sense of... Okay, there we go. Display is 5-inch Full HD OLED display, which is pretty sweet. Always on display as well, but that's nothing new. It has 441 pixels per inch, which is pretty sweet as well. That's pretty good. The always on display can show your time, date, email, and text message notifications and reminders on screen without you having to touch or wake the Pixel 2. So again, same as what the Samsung Edges offer as well. There's nothing particularly new there. If you're playing music, the Pixel 2 can also detect the song and display the tune that's playing on the always on display as well. This doesn't even need an internet connection to recognize the tune, as it uses an on-device database of music, which is really strange to me because you'd think it would just scan the song info that's on the phone. I'm guessing it means that externally, right? If there's music playing elsewhere on a different device, like if you're in a club, if you looked at your phone, it should tell you the song that's on, which is interesting. I don't know how they do that. That's pretty impressive that they have that on a database on a phone that doesn't affect your memory too much.
Well, it's Google, so it's also the possibility that just they have index and access everything on the web. So who knows? They might have some things in there that allows it to just discreetly pull information back and forth.
Well, they say that no internet connection required. So that's the thing that's interesting.
Possible. Interesting, or maybe just a database on the phone of a ton of stuff.
But here's the part where it gets kind of scary. So in the past, Google have always mocked Apple, their tech events, for the fact that they removed the headphone jack from the iPhone.
Yeah.
Well, here comes the Pixel 2 with no headphone jack, which is a little bit interesting. So that's really strange. Fastest fingerprint scanner of any phone. I don't know why they're concentrating on this. It's a big part of their advertising model as well, as if this is something people really, really, really want. I mean, again, my Samsung Edge 7, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass when my finger's a little bit wet and it's not quite scanning it correctly. But otherwise, it's I still see it as a very fast alternative to passwords and pins.
Okay. Yep.
And so I've never had a problem. I've never thought of it as slow. So the fact that they're saying this is the fastest ever, I'm sort of thinking I never knew I needed it to be faster. It's fine as it is. So that's a little weird. I mean, it takes less than 0.1 seconds for me. So dual front-facing speakers, which is nice. However, with the removal of the headphones, you either need Bluetooth headphones, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, in my opinion. I think it's a bit ridiculous. Or USB-C connected headphones, or a clunky
Equally
adapter.
Pain in the ass.
Or expensive, right? They're that's not cheap.
Yep.
So if you're going to get this phone, you're accepting some downsides here straight off the bat. It comes with Snapdragon 835 processor chipset and a 4 gigabytes even of RAM, which is pretty nice. That's nothing crazy, but it's pretty good. You have the choice of 64 gig or 128 gig of internal storage, although the price between them is rather vast, it says. And finally, just before we wrap up here, it's a 12 megabit pixel rear camera with the 98 DxO Mark highest for any phone, which is pretty sweet. And it uses OIS and EIS for video recording. It's a pretty nice. It's got HDR, etc. internally, which is just the default nowadays anyway. It's a bit weird to not have that, which I've never seen the appeal for on a phone anyway, which is it's really strange for me as well. It's got all-day battery life, as if that's something to be proud of. But however, 7 hours use from a 15-minute charge. Now that is worth touting.
That is interesting.
If you charge your phone in 15 minutes, you can use it for 7 hours. So in other words, it'll take you approximately an hour to charge your phone fully, maybe a little bit less. That's pretty good. I like that a lot. The actual size of the battery is 2700 mAh, so which is actually not the biggest I've seen out there. But it's looking like a pretty nice phone overall. I think the price points are going to be the biggest deciding factor for most people. Personally, the lack of a headphone jack makes it just not worthwhile for me at this moment. However, in the future, who knows? Maybe these old school headphones like I'm wearing today are going to be a thing of the past in the next 2 years. Who knows? If all phones follow suit, we're eventually going to have to move over, right? And I don't have a problem with that if that's going to be the way forward. I mean, that's all.
There's still some
following-
challenges because I think there's still advantages to some of the analog. Now, if they can show some arguments as to why they, not having the analog jack saves so much XXX, real estate / other things, because they don't have to put in that converter or something, a digital to analog converter, and they don't have to have the headphone jack, stuff like that. Cool, that'd be great. But it's
I can
still
tell you
such
why.
a pain in the ass.
It's because, one, Apple's doing it, and two, we can say our phone is this thin without having to force it to be this.
You can limit it below the jack, yeah. Well, it's funny, too, because apparently also due to following Apple, other manufacturers are going to stop trying to go after the under-screen fingerprint reader that Apple was trying to do and gave up on for the iPhone 10, where they're going to the facial recognition instead. What'll be interesting to see behind that. Well, so one of the things, I am in the market for a new phone. Everyone should know that because I'm running on a 4S right now after my 6 decided to kaput. And
That's been a while you've been on this, sir.
Oh, yeah. No, it's painful. It's very painful. I have to keep my external battery with me if I go anywhere more than an hour. Like, literally, the battery
geez.
lasts like an hour with any slight usage. And I want to find a new phone. I'm currently on track to look at the iPhone 10, but what I need to see is a breakdown of what are the top phones out there today, what features they have, how much they cost, and if there's a compelling enough reason for me to look elsewhere. Because I've been very comfortable with the iOS environment ever since I got my first smartphone. So I'm at least curious, and we'll see what I go forward with it. But I haven't found a good article yet that like kind of really breaks down everything and seeing different reviews. A lot of them are just individual phones and maybe one versus another with a lot of bias in how they're reporting.
There are quite a lot of articles out there where they do comparisons of the modern releases in the past month. So I just a quick Google should satisfy your needs.
I just haven't found, well, part of
sense.
the challenge is I don't know what the name of new Android-based phones are. And so I'm not ever sure if it's like a more recent one. I have to look for like published dates and stuff like that to actually know if it's up to date. So we'll see.
It doesn't matter if the phone is recent. If you look at the article and the article's recent,
That's
and if
what
you
I
look at
mean,
the specs and you're happy with them, right? I mean, it's not the worst thing if it's an older phone, but you're happy with the specs. So.
But that's the thing. I need to do a comparison between so that I can decide where it's worth putting my money. But with that, it is time for us to end the show this week. Would you be willing, Ken, to lead us out?
If I can remember how to do that, I shall indeed do so. I will endeavor to. You've listened to ShowX on VTWProductions.com. You can check us out all around the web. We're a little bit everywhere. You can find us by surfing the web at AOL.com. No, I'm kidding. You can find us by going to Facebook.com, searching for ShowX there, and find us there. We have a VTW Productions page, but we don't actually update that really ever. It's just there for like a conglomerate thing more than anything. But the ShowX one, we still post our funny pictures there and some interesting news articles and some memes and stuff as well. Check it out. Send us an emails to showx@VTWProductions.com. That's much appreciated. Tell us what you've been up to with your geek cred for the past week, and we will read your email out. Give a shout out to your friend who also listens, and that's always a fun thing to do. You can check us out on twitter.com/VTWShowX for the official show account, twitter.com/DocDead for Mr. Wayne here, and twitter.com/GoHex for myself. Check us out on the forums. That's very important because that's where the art contest is. Go to VTWProductions.com, click on forums at the top, sign in or register. If you're registering, maybe put VTW in your username or something like that. Something that differentiates you from the thousands of spam accounts we get every day, because otherwise we're likely to delete you. So be sure to be careful with that. But we do take part in the ShowX art contest. It's good fun. And we do open it up to the Facebook as well. So if we have an announcement, any of the art contest reminders, feel free to post your content on those posts instead, and we will include you in the forum final vote as well. So feel free to do it that way if you'd rather. Check us on patreon.com/showx. We do love you, the guys who are supporting us that way. It keeps the show afloat in terms of server costs, software costs, hardware costs, etc., etc. And it does not go towards Ken's new graphics card, because if it did, I'd probably have one by now. So we're good with the money. We only spend on things that are appropriate for the show. Thank you guys for still listening to us after I've been on a long hiatus, unintentional and unwanted hiatus, but regardless, and we do appreciate your support throughout these kind of times. Hopefully that's me back for, as far as I'm concerned, until at least Christmas. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you for having me back, sir. I have missed you and missed everyone. It's good to be back on the show.
It is good to have you back, and thank you again for everyone listening into the show. We appreciate you, and please email in at showx@vtwproductions.com. Let us know what you think of what we said, and if there's anything you want to catch us up on in your life. So with that, we will catch you again next week for the most part. We'll see. I will be in New Mexico, and so depending on if I can have the mobile rig with me and such and decent interwebs, we will see that, as well as maybe if we get Ken set up somehow to stream to YouTube at least. We shall see. But yeah,
see.
so there may or may not be a show next week. And
let's say there will be. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to
Awesome.
try.
So we will let you know, and we'll make sure we post if there's any delays or cancellations on the VTW page.
Absolutely.
So thank you guys very much, and we will catch you again next time. And so let me get this back up, and we will see you later, guys.
Goodbye. See you in the next zombie. Good night.